Good evening. My name is Barnabas Boner. I'd like to welcome you to our little Halloween treat. Or maybe a trick.
Hey, what's going on here?
I don't want you here. I want to do it alone.
Right, yeah, and as much as I appreciate that, you really annoyed me last week. So, you can stand, but you're not taking part this week. And if you want to fall over to be spoiled and just annoying...
Oh no! You can't do this to me!
Well, if he's going to do that, then I'm going to do this. Welcome to the wonderful world of dodgy movies, folks. And sorry for the introduction there by Boney McBonerson. I don't know.
It's Barnabas Boner!
Barnabas Boner, apparently. So, if you hadn't guessed from the way that I am dressed and have been dressed all month, I'm a massive fan of ELVIRA, Mistress of the Dark. So, as such, I have chosen for Halloween to honour herself by reviewing her very first feature-length movie.
Wanna talk tough movies? Here's a superhero with the biggest pair of all.
You looking for me?
There she was, just walking down the street singing.
Miss Elvira is a slimy, slithering succubus, a concubine, a streetwalker, a tramp.
Yes, she's got it all. She's everything you've ever wanted in a movie. A woman and a casserole.
She was walking next to me singing.
You'll see lots of weird romance.
What's that perfume you're wearing?
Super unleaded. Don't smoke.
Loads of drooling madness.
Ew, I hope you changed the sheets.
Hey, Elvira, we got us a couple more volunteers.
Great, just grab a tool and start banging.
A whole gang of awesome monsters.
I'm bad, Joe, you know it.
And a few sleazy experiments.
And there's nothing wrong with G-rated movies as long as there's lots of sex and violence.
The charge is witchcraft.
We ought to have one of these every year.
See Elvira as Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
But if they ever ask about me, tell them I was more than just a great set of...
It's the greatest double feature of all time.
Who's Elvira, you ask? Well, Elvira is the woman who inspired me and has inspired many, probably a lot of boys in other ways, but she's a very inspirational figure. She is either a witch or a vampire, depending. I think she might be a bit of both, really. But she, Elvira, was the hostess with the mostess and introduced a lot of horror films, bad horror films, to a lot of teenagers and young people back in the 80s. And still does to this day. She even has a scary thing she does every Halloween at Knott's Berry Farm. So folks, without further ado, let's look at this film. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. At the start of this movie, we are introduced to Elvira watching a bad movie. Now, the movie in question is a Roger Corman classic, in that it's a classic bad film, and it's called It Conquered the World. Because one of them is Dick Miller, one is Lee Van Cleef, and Peter Graves, who was in Aeroplane. We then see her giving her final thoughts on said movie, in the classic way she would on her TV show. And then we see the cable station and how awful it is. And for 1988, for any woman to do exactly what Elvira does next.
What, the lard bucket and a 10-gallon hat?
Yes, that's the station you own it. Shut up! Relax. This guy is a million laughs, okay? Mr. Hooter. This is Elvira.
Name's Earl, but the ladies back home call me Longhorn. Maybe you can guess why.
Gee, I don't know. Does it have anything to do with your breath?
Why don't we let this little filly get herself gussied up? Sooner I get in the saddle, the better.
Well, sorry, partner, but looks like it's going to be you and your trusty old right hand.
Sounds like you're looking to get yourself fired.
Women need to take note of what Elvira does in this scene. Considering what's been going on for the past, I don't know how long now. Is it 8 months, 9 months? The Me Too thing, you know. Women, look at what Elvira does. This was 88. If she can do it, you can do it too.
Cowpoke.
Somebody on the floor, get her out of there.
Within so much as 10 feet of me, and I'm gonna tie your weenie in a granny knot.
You said she was a nympho.
Come on, will you?
What are you doing now, Boney?
I'm just lying here. I'm so empty without you.
You're empty because you got nothing in you. You're bones.
That too.
Anywho, so she gets a telegram to tell her that a great aunt Maud has died, so she thinks she's in with a whole load of money. So she goes off to Falwell, Kansas, to go get her money. So she goes and meets her great uncle Vincent, who wants a special cookbook. Yeah, cookbook. You know where this is going, folks, don't you? Guy wants a cookbook. What man wants a cookbook? No man wants a cookbook unless his intentions are evil, and said cookbook is a book of shadows, i.e. a magic book, book of spells. Yes, the book in question is her great aunt Maud's book of spells, and Elvira is a witch, doesn't know it yet, and doesn't realise that she has the power within her yet, and that she's been carrying it around her entire life. She probably just thinks it's just her natural effervescent charm and confidence that have carried her all this way. No, it really is. So, she's stuck in a town with a lovely bunch of white people that hate teenagers. And I have to admit, this town is just full of white people. I have no memory of any colours or ethnicities in this town at all, apart from whites. So, hey, Middle America, you're white. Edie Clark. Now, she's called Chastity Pariah. It's a name that sticks with you and means a lot. Actually, a lot of the things in this film are just taking the piss out of everything that is wrong. It takes the piss out of all the bad horror movies and movie tropes, and then it even takes the piss out of Flashdance. But you know what? I don't think that Cassandra Peterson needed a bloke in drag to do those dances. I know she wasn't doing all of that, but I think that was a woman the entire time. I don't think any penises were touched. The movie is basically a battle between Elvira and teaching the town of Falwell, Kansas, that, you know, there's nothing wrong with being a sexy lady, there's nothing wrong with sex, there's nothing wrong with just being yourself. That's what she teaches the town. The other side of it is that she has to fight her uncle and defend and save the book that her aunt has bestowed upon her, as long with the house. When you watch this film, you will notice that the town looks very familiar. You may recognise the town from Back to the Future, Gremlins, Monster Squad, loads of 50s films, if you've ever watched anything set in a town square, possibly Gilmore Girls, you know, not Medium, what was that other one? Ghost Whisperer. She had big tits too. Look, if you can't notice that Jennifer Love Hewitt has huge tits, and you can't appreciate that Elvira has huge tits, which she points out that she has many assets, including her lovely legs and her tits, then really you need to loosen up. Loosen up like she makes them loosen up in this scene.
Remind you of anything?
Oh boy, am I a horn dog? Excuse me, is this face
So it's not surprising that when Elvira finally confronts Look, I'm sorry. I thought I'd got rid of Sammi Curr, but apparently he's still around and he likes to have a bit of fun. And apparently since last week, everyone just wants to get in on the act of this video. Look, Elvira can kick their ass. I would like to say that she is an inspiration to me, hence I dressed a bit like her, using her costume and, well, homemade, but you know. This film is hilarious. It's a cult classic, and in time for Christmas, everyone, this film is getting a Blu-ray release, thanks to Arrow Films. I love Arrow Films. They keep releasing great dodgy films that you should all check out. Some of them are bad, but some of them are so bad they're good, and some of them are cult classics. And this is a cult classic that I grew up watching. And it does have, well, it doesn't technically have a sequel. There is another movie with Elvira in it. But what I'd like to say about Elvira and what this movie shows is that you can be a sexy woman, strong, smart, and not need a man, but still want men, of course. Who doesn't? But you can be a strong, sexy, and intelligent woman, and that's okay. You can show off your figure. You can be intelligent and still, you know, have jokes with the lads. Unlike Chastity's Pariah. No one likes that sort of person. That person shouldn't exist, but unfortunately probably still does. And there's probably people out there who will watch me or watch Elvira or anyone who wants to emulate or be like Elvira or any of the other famous Gothic women who came before Elvira, such as Yvonne De Carlo, who played Lily Munster, Carolyn Jones, who played Morticia Adams, and Mila Nurmi as Vampira from Plan 9 from Outer Space and other stuff, who did also a lot of things similar to Elvira back in the day where she would host a horror show. There are people out there, and I'm sure they'll probably even say that about me for dressing this way and dressing how I have, that, well, I'll let Chastity say what all those people will say.
Elvira is a person of easy virtue, a purveyor of pulchritude, a one-woman Sodom and Gomorrah, if you will, a slimy, slithering succubus, a concubine, a streetwalker, a tramp, a slut, a cheap whore!
I think women should be inspired by Elvira and Marilyn Monroe and lots of women that can be both sexy, strong, and intelligent, and have opinions and just go, you know what? You can be sexy and still be smart and opinionated. Be yourself. And that's what this film's about. It's about being who you are. And yes, it ends in Vegas with a tassel show. This movie, in 1988, was nominated for Worst Picture, and Cassandra Peterson was nominated for Worst Actress by, well, the Razzies. Thankfully, it didn't win either of those. Cassandra Peterson lost out to Worst Actress to Liza Minnelli for After Two on the Rocks and Rent-A-Cop. Didn't think After Two on the Rocks was that bad, but Rent-A-Cop might be. That's 2 years later. Now, if you're a little bit younger and you don't know about VHS, back in the 80s, it took 2 years from when a film was released for a film to come out on VHS. Not like it does now where it takes 4 or 5 months for it to come out on DVD as soon as it's released, because they want to just keep cashing in on it. It took 2 years. So 2 years later, in 1990, the film was nominated for Best Film and Best Actress. So, guess people just don't know what to make of this film. What I will tell you is, it's a great film. It's good fun. It's a good laugh. It's kitschy. It's cheesy. It's 80s. It's ridiculous. I mean, she makes a poodle into a punk poodle that also turns into a punk mouse and a Rottweiler. You've got Morgan S. Shepherd, who is brilliant as Uncle Vincent. You've got Jeff Conaway in this film. You've got Edie Clerc, as I mentioned, and it's just full of humour, and it knows exactly what it's doing. It knows it's not a good film. It knows it's not going to be Lawrence of Arabia or any of those Oscar-winning films. It's paying homage to the bad movies that she would sit and host every week on her horror show. And if you think this one is paying homage to those sort of horror films, the next one, Elvira's Haunted Hills, well, that pays even more homage to, well, the gothic horrors that she would watch and review and comment on. Now, I say check it out, and if you're looking for a Christmas present for anyone this year, purchase Elvira, Mistress of the Dark on Blu-ray from Arrow Films. It will be out for Christmas, folks, so do buy it and watch it and enjoy it. And another thing, it made me want to watch Killer Tomatoes even more, because guess what? This one had a reference to Killer Tomatoes as well. So, till next week, folks, happy Halloween. And remember what I say, there's a lot of dodgy films out there. This is not one of them. Well, it kind of is. A little bit. It's dodgy and it knows it. Remember, hit that subscribe button. Comment down below. Ring the bell over there for me to get notified when I upload. And I will see you all after Halloween. To quote Elvira, unpleasant dreams. I've been around.